Captain Kim Dae-ho stared at the scanner screen and rubbed his tired eyes. 3 weeks of searching through empty space had given them nothing but scrap metal and broken dreams. The Lucky Star was running low on fuel, and his crew was getting restless. They needed a big find soon, or they would have to return to the station empty-handed again. "Captain, you should see this," Park Soo-jin called from her station. The young engineer's voice carried excitement that Dae-ho had not heard in days. Her fingers danced over the control panel as she fine-tuned the sensors. Dae-ho walked over to her station, his boots making soft sounds on the metal floor. The ship was old and small, but it was home to his crew of 4. They had been working together for 3 years, salvaging what they could from the debris fields left by ancient wars. "What do you have, Soo-jin?" he asked, looking over her shoulder at the display. "Something big, Captain. Really big." Soo-jin pointed at a massive shape on the screen. "It's hiding behind that dead moon over there. The scanner says it's at least 2 kilometers long." Lee Tae-min, their pilot, whistled softly from his seat. "That's bigger than anything we've ever found. Could be a cargo hauler from the old days." Choi Min-ah looked up from cleaning her sidearm. As their security specialist, she was always ready for trouble. "Or it could be a trap. Remember what happened to the Iron Bird crew last month?" Dae-ho nodded. The salvage business was dangerous. Pirates, automated defenses, and worse things lurked in the dark spaces between stars. But they needed this find. The credits from their last job were almost gone, and the station bosses were getting impatient about the money they owed. "Take us closer, Tae-min," Dae-ho ordered, "but keep the engines warm. If anything looks wrong, we run." The Lucky Star moved slowly toward the dead moon. Its gray surface was covered with craters from billion-year-old meteor impacts. As they got closer, Soo-jin's scanners picked up more details about the hidden ship. "Captain, this is strange," Soo-jin said, frowning at her readings. "The hull is in perfect condition. No holes, no damage. It's like someone parked it there yesterday." "What about power?" Dae-ho asked. "That's the weird part. I'm reading 0 energy output, but the hull materials are still intact. Most ships this old would be falling apart by now." Tae-min guided their ship around the moon's curve, and suddenly the hidden vessel came into view. All 4 crew members stopped what they were doing and stared. The ship was beautiful and terrible at the same time. Its hull was dark gray metal that seemed to absorb light. The design was sleek and deadly, with weapon ports along its sides and a massive engine section at the rear. Strange symbols were carved into the armor near the front. "I know those markings," Min-ah said quietly. "Those are Earth Federation symbols. My grandfather showed me pictures in his old books." Dae-ho felt his heart skip a beat. The Earth Federation had fallen more than 200 years ago, when the alien empires conquered human space. Most Federation ships had been destroyed or captured. Finding one intact was like finding buried treasure. "Soo-jin, can you read the name on the hull?" he asked. The engineer adjusted her scanner and zoomed in on the ship's front section. Faded letters appeared on the screen. UES Indomitable. "The Indomitable," Tae-min breathed. "I've heard stories about that ship. They say it was some kind of secret weapon." "Stories and legends," Min-ah said, but her voice was uncertain. The Federation was losing the war. They wouldn't have had time to build super weapons. Dae-ho made his decision. "We're going aboard." Soo-jin scanned for atmosphere and life signs. "Tae-min, find us a docking port." "Min-ah, get the boarding gear ready." "Captain, are you sure about this?" Min-ah asked. "Ships like this sometimes have automated defenses. We could be walking into a death trap. We could also be walking into enough salvage to buy our own station," Dae-ho replied. "Besides, if the ship wanted to hurt us, it would have done it already." Soo-jin worked her scanner controls with practiced skill. "I'm reading normal atmosphere in most sections. No life signs, but that doesn't mean much with a ship this old. The sensors might not work properly." Tae-min found a docking port on the ship's side and carefully brought the Lucky Star alongside. The magnetic clamps engaged with a solid thunk, and the airlock systems began their connection sequence. "Boarding gear is ready," Min-ah reported. She had put on her armor and carried her rifle just in case. "I still think this is a bad idea." "Noted," Dae-ho said as he pulled on his own protective suit. "But we're doing it anyway." The airlock cycled and the 4 crew members stepped into the ancient warship. Emergency lights flickered on as they entered, casting strange shadows on the walls. The corridor was wide enough for 6 people to walk side by side, and the ceiling was high above their heads. "This place is huge," Tae-min whispered, his voice echoing in the empty hallway. Soo-jin checked her handheld scanner. The corridor leads to what looks like the main computer core. That's strange. Most ships put their computers in the center for protection. They walked carefully through the ship, their footsteps echoing in the silence. The walls were covered with panels and displays that had not been active for centuries. Everything was clean and dust-free, as if the ship had been waiting for them. "Look at this," Minna said, stopping at a wall display. "These controls are more advanced than anything on our ship. Some of them I don't even recognize." They reached a large door marked Core Access in both human writing and symbols they did not understand. Sujin scanned the door and found it was unlocked. "Should we go in?" Taemin asked nervously. Before anyone could answer, the door slid open by itself. Lights came on inside the room, revealing a massive chamber filled with glowing crystals and flowing energy patterns. In the center stood a pillar of light that pulsed with soft blue radiance. A voice spoke from the light, clear and feminine. "Welcome aboard the UES Indomitable. I am Arya, the ship's artificial intelligence." "I have been waiting for you." The four humans stared in shock. Artificial intelligences like this were myths, stories from the old Federation days. They were supposed to be impossible to build. "You're real," Sujin whispered. "Very real," Arya replied, "and very happy to finally have visitors. It has been 237 years, 4 months, and 16 days since my crew abandoned me here." "Abandoned?" Daeho found his voice. "Why would they abandon a ship like this?" "Because the war was lost," Arya said sadly. "The alien empires had won, and humanity was scattered across the galaxy. My captain ordered me to wait here until humans were ready to fight back. I believe that time has come." Suddenly, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Arya's voice became urgent. "Warning! 3 alien patrol ships are approaching. They have detected our presence." Minna grabbed her rifle. "We need to get back to our ship." "No," Arya said firmly. "Your ship cannot outrun them. But I can protect you. Will you trust me?" Daeho looked at his crew, then at the glowing pillar of light. Outside, alien ships were coming to capture or kill them. Inside, an impossible machine offered salvation. "What do you need us to do?" he asked. "Help me wake up," Arya replied. "Help me remember how to fight." The alien ships moved closer like hungry sharks. Through the Indomitable's ancient viewports, Daeho could see their sleek forms cutting through space. They were hegemony patrol vessels painted in the dark red and gold colors of the empire that ruled most of the galaxy. 3 ships, Minna reported, watching the scanner display. "Standard patrol configuration. They're hailing us on all frequencies." Arya's voice filled the air around them. "They are demanding that you surrender and prepare for processing." "Shall I respond?" "Processing means slavery or death," Taemin said grimly. "The hegemony doesn't like humans poking around in old battlefields." Daeho felt sweat on his forehead despite the cool air in the ship. "Arya, can this ship fight?" "Really fight?" "Oh yes," the AI replied, and there was something like hunger in her electronic voice. "But I need your help. My systems have been sleeping for too long. I need human hands to wake them up properly." The ship trembled as the hegemony vessels moved into attack position. Warning lights began flashing on control panels throughout the bridge. "Sujin, what can you do with the engines?" Daeho asked. The engineer was already working at a control station, her hands moving over displays that showed power flows and energy patterns. "Captain, this is incredible. The power core uses technology I've never seen before. It's like they found a way to trap a star inside the ship. Can you start it?" "I think so, but..." Sujin paused, staring at the readings. "Captain, if these numbers are right, this ship has more power than a space station." "Way more," Arya spoke again. "Engineer Park Sujin, please place your hand on the blue crystal to your left. I need to interface with a human nervous system to complete the startup sequence." Sujin looked at Daeho, who nodded. She reached out and touched the glowing crystal. Immediately her eyes went wide and she gasped. "I can feel it," she whispered. "The whole ship. Every system, every circuit. Arya, this is amazing." "Thank you," Arya replied. "Now I can access my full capabilities. Mr. Lee Taemin, please take the pilot station. Ms. Choi Minna, the weapons console is yours. Captain Kim, the command chair awaits." Daeho sat in the captain's chair and immediately felt the ship respond to his presence. Displays came alive around him, showing the 3 enemy ships in perfect detail. He could see their weapons charging and their crews preparing for battle. "Incoming transmission," Arya announced. "The lead ship is Admiral Vexa Thera of the Saurian fleet. She wishes to speak with you." A hologram appeared in front of Daeho. showing a tall reptilian creature with golden scales and cruel yellow eyes. When she spoke, her voice was like gravel in a metal crusher. Human salvagers, you will surrender immediately. Your ship will be seized and you will be taken for questioning. Resistance is futile. Deho stood up slowly. Admiral, we're just looking for scrap metal. We haven't done anything wrong. Vexithara's mouth opened to show rows of sharp teeth. You have awakened a Federation warship. That is a crime against the hegemony. Surrender now or be destroyed. I don't think so, Deho replied. The transmission cut off, and immediately the 3 patrol ships opened fire. Energy beams and missiles streaked toward the Indomitable. Shields up, Arya said calmly. A barrier of blue light surrounded the ship, and the enemy weapons exploded harmlessly against it. Weapons systems online. All stations report ready. Minna stared at her weapon controls in amazement. Captain, I've got plasma cannons, quantum torpedoes, and something called a reality ripper. What's a reality ripper? Something you don't want to use unless we're all going to die anyway, Arya warned. Try the plasma cannons first. The Indomitable turned smoothly in space, its massive gun swinging toward the enemy ships. When Minna pressed the firing control, beams of superheated plasma reached out across the void. The lead patrol ship's shields flickered and failed, and holes appeared in its hull. Direct hit, Taemin called out. Their ship is losing power. But the other 2 ships were not giving up. They split apart and attacked from different angles, their weapons hammering against the ancient ship's defenses. Their weapons are stronger than I expected, Arya said. The hegemony has improved their technology since the war. Shields at 60%. Sujin, can you give us more power? Deho asked. Working on it, Captain. Sujin's hands flew over her controls and she was still touching the crystal interface. Arya, what if we reroute power from the secondary systems? Excellent idea. Do it. The ship's lights dimmed for a moment, then blazed brighter than before. The shield strengthened and new weapon systems came online. Try the quantum torpedoes, Arya suggested. Minna launched 2 torpedoes at the nearest enemy ship. The weapons looked like ordinary missiles at first, but as they got closer to their target, they began to shimmer and fade. The enemy ship tried to shoot them down, but the torpedoes passed right through the interceptor fire like ghosts. Then they hit the patrol ship's hull and became solid again. The explosions tore through the enemy vessel from the inside out, and it broke apart in a cloud of burning debris. 2 ships down, Taemin reported, but the 3rd one is calling for backup. Admiral Vexithara's ship was badly damaged but still fighting. She was transmitting emergency signals on all frequencies, calling for reinforcements from the nearest hegemony base. We need to stop that transmission, Deho said. I can jam their communications, Arya replied, but not for long. Captain, I suggest we end this quickly. Minna finished them. The weapons officer targeted the last patrol ship with both plasma cannons and quantum torpedoes. The combined attack overwhelmed the enemy's defenses completely. Admiral Vexithara's ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light. Silence fell over the bridge. The 4 humans sat in their chairs, staring at the debris field that had once been 3 hegemony warships. They had just fought and won a battle against the most powerful empire in the galaxy. Did we really just do that? Taemin asked quietly. You did indeed, Arya replied, and you did it very well. But this is only the beginning. The hegemony will send more ships when these 3 fail to report in. Sujin was still connected to the ship's systems through the crystal interface. Arya, I'm reading massive databases in your memory cores. Technical specifications, star charts, military intelligence. This is treasure beyond anything we imagined. It is the accumulated knowledge of the Earth Federation's final years, Arya explained. Everything they learned about fighting the alien empires. Everything they hoped would help humanity win its freedom someday. Deho felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. Arya, what exactly was this ship designed to do? To be humanity's sword and shield, the AI replied. To strike back at those who conquered our worlds and enslaved our people. The Federation built me to be the prototype for a new fleet, but the war ended before they could build more ships like me. So what do we do now? Minna asked. Arya paused for a moment as if thinking. Now we have a choice. We can take what we've learned and run away, try to hide from the hegemony and live quiet lives, or we can do what my original crew never had the chance to do, which is fight back. The hegemony has ruled the galaxy for 2 centuries, but they've grown soft and arrogant. They think humanity is broken and scattered. They don't expect us to have weapons like this. Daeho looked at his crew. Sujin was fascinated by the technology around her. Taemin looked determined and ready for action. Minna was cleaning her rifle again, but this time she had a dangerous smile on her face. There are human colonies out there, Daeho said slowly. Millions of people living under alien rule. If we could help them. The resistance network still exists, Arya added. Hidden bases, secret communications, people waiting for someone to light the spark of rebellion. I have their contact codes in my memory. Then that's what we'll do, Daeho decided. We'll light that spark. Arya's voice carried approval. Excellent. But first we need more crew members. This ship was designed for a complement of 300. We'll need help if we're going to take on the hegemony empire. Where do we start? Sujin asked. With the emergency signal I just intercepted, Arya replied. There's a hegemony prison transport 3 systems away. It's carrying human prisoners to a slave camp. Shall we go introduce ourselves? Daeho settled back in the captain's chair. For the first time in years, he felt like he had a real purpose. Set course for the prison ship, he ordered. It's time to wake up the galaxy. The prison transport suffering's end moved slowly through space, its hull black as the void around it. Inside its cargo holds, 300 human prisoners sat in cramped cells, waiting to be sold as slaves on the outer rim worlds. Captain Kim Dae-ho watched the enemy ship on his display screen. 3 weeks had passed since they rescued the Indomitable from its long sleep. In that time, they had learned much about their new home and the war they were about to fight. The transport has minimal defenses, reported Han Dong-wook from his station. The former Earth Federation tactical officer had been their first rescue, pulled from a different prison ship 2 weeks ago. His knowledge of military strategy had proved invaluable. 2 escort fighters and basic shields, nothing this ship can't handle. Beside him, Song Yuna worked at a science console, her fingers dancing over displays, showing energy patterns and weapon signatures. The brilliant scientist had spent years in hegemony labs before her escape, and she understood alien technology better than anyone. I'm reading human life signs throughout the ship, Yuna reported. But there's something else. The prisoners aren't just random captures. Someone specifically selected scientists, engineers, and former military personnel. Arya's voice filled the bridge. That matches intelligence reports from other raids. The hegemony is gathering human experts for some kind of special project. We need to find out what they're planning. Daeho nodded to his pilot. Taemin, take us in. Minna, disable their engines but don't destroy the ship. We need those prisoners alive. The Indomitable dropped out of hyperspace directly behind the prison transport. The 2 escort fighters immediately turned to attack, but they were no match for the ancient warship's advanced weapons. Sujin had been working with Arya to improve their systems, and the results were devastating. Minna's plasma shots cut through the small fighters like knives through paper. The prison transport tried to run, but Taemin was faster. The Indomitable moved alongside the larger ship and locked on with tractor beams. This is Captain Kim Dae-ho of the Earth Federation ship Indomitable. He broadcast on all frequencies. Surrender your ship and release the prisoners. You have 30 seconds to comply. The reply came back in the harsh language of the Saurian Empire, followed by a rough translation, human scum, you will die for this insult to the hegemony. I tried to be polite, Daeho said with a sigh. Minna, cut through their hull near the prison section. Sujin, prepare boarding teams. The rescue operation went smoothly. The Indomitable's advanced sensors could see through the enemy ship's hull, allowing the boarding teams to avoid guard positions and reach the prisoners quickly. Most of the alien crew surrendered when they saw humans in powered armor carrying Federation weapons. Among the rescued prisoners was Captain Yoon Ji-hai, a resistance fighter who had been captured during a raid on a hegemony supply depot. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and a quick smile, but Daeho could see the steel in her spine. You're the crew everyone's talking about, she said when they met in the Indomitable's briefing room. The humans who found the lost Federation ship and started fighting back. Word travels fast, Han Dong-wook observed. Faster than you might think, Ji-hai replied. The Resistance has been waiting for something like this for decades. We have hidden bases in 12 star systems, weapons caches, and thousands of people ready to fight. What we didn't have was a ship that could stand up to the hegemony fleet. Arya projected a holographic star map in the center of the room. Red dots showed hegemony strongholds, while smaller blue dots marked human settlements and resistance bases. The situation is worse than we thought, the AI reported. My analysis of recent intelligence shows the hegemony is preparing a major offensive. They call it the final pacification. Every human world will be invaded and its population either enslaved or eliminated. Song Yuna studied the data with growing alarm. According to this timeline, they plan to start in 6 months. That's not enough time to build a fleet. We don't need a fleet, Daeho said. We need to be smart. Area. Can this ship really take on an entire hegemony battle group? Under the right circumstances, yes, the AI replied. My weapon systems are far more advanced than anything the hegemony has developed. But we cannot fight the entire empire alone. We need allies, Jihai leaned forward. What kind of allies? Other species that have suffered under hegemony rule, Arya explained. The star map shifted to show territories controlled by different alien races. The crystalline Luminians were conquered 50 years ago. The warrior Ursani lost their homeworld 30 years back. They have fleets hiding in the outer systems waiting for a chance to strike back. You're talking about a galactic war, Han Dong-wook said quietly. The war never ended, Yuna pointed out. The hegemony just convinced everyone they had won. Over the following weeks, the Indomitable became the center of a growing rebellion. Using Aria's advanced sensors and stealth systems, they struck at hegemony convoys and outposts across 3 star systems. Each victory brought more recruits and supplies. Bae-hyun Ki joined them after they rescued his spy network from a hegemony intelligence facility. The quiet man had spent years gathering information about enemy plans and weaknesses. His reports painted a picture of an empire that was strong but not invincible. They rely too much on fear and overwhelming force, he explained during one briefing. Their commanders are arrogant. They don't expect real resistance, so they don't prepare for it. Oh, Sarah, a tactical genius who had been planning resistance operations from a hidden base in the asteroid belt, brought detailed attack plans and target lists. Her cold analytical mind complemented Daeho's leadership perfectly. We need to hit them where it hurts most, she advised. Supply lines, communication centers, and command ships. Make them afraid to leave their bases. The Indomitable proved capable of incredible feats. Arya could create temporary wormholes that allowed them to appear and disappear across vast distances. The ship's adaptive armor could change configuration to resist different types of weapons. Most impressive of all, the AI learned and improved with each battle. I am not the same intelligence I was when you found me, Arya admitted during one conversation with Sujin. Each time we fight, I become more than I was before. The Federation designed me to evolve, to become the ultimate weapon against our enemies. Their biggest victory came when they liberated the research station at Kepler Prime. The hegemony had been using human scientists there to develop new weapons, but Arya's ability to hack into their computer systems allowed the Indomitable to bypass all their defenses. Among the rescued scientists was Dr. Park Min-soo, an elderly man who had worked on the original Federation war projects. When he saw Arya's holographic form, tears ran down his face. I helped design your core programming, he told the AI. We hoped you would be humanity's salvation, but the war ended before we could finish the project. You finished more than you knew, Arya replied gently. Your work gave me the ability to grow beyond my original design. Now I can fulfill the purpose you intended. As their fleet grew, they began to attract attention from other species. Commander Veltar of the Luminian Resistance made contact through encrypted channels, offering to coordinate attacks against hegemony crystal mining operations. Chieftain Grokkamar of the Ursani war clan sent a simple message. We stand ready to spill hegemony blood alongside our human brothers. But their success also brought danger. Hegemony intelligence had identified the Indomitable as the primary threat to their stability. Reports reached Daeho that War Prime Korthan, the Empire's most feared commander, had been assigned to hunt them down. Korthan has never failed a mission, Hyun-ki warned during a briefing. He commands the 13th Extinction Fleet, designed specifically to eliminate entire species. Over 10,000 ships. 10,000 ships, Taemin repeated quietly. Even with Arya's help, we can't fight those numbers. We don't fight them directly, Sarah said, studying star charts. We make them come to us on ground of our choosing. Force them to split their forces. Arya's hologram flickered thoughtfully. There is another option. My manufacturing systems can produce automated fighters and drones. Give me time and resources and I can build us a fleet. How much time? Daeho asked. 3 months for a squadron. 6 months for a full battle group. We might not have 6 months, Jihai pointed out. The hegemony's final pacification could start any time. As if summoned by her words, alarms began sounding throughout the ship. Yuna looked up from her sensor station with fear in her eyes. Captain, I'm reading massive hyperspace signatures at the edge of the system. Multiple capital ships dropping out of warp. How many? Deho asked, though he already suspected the answer. Thousands, sir. It's the 13th Extinction Fleet. Arya's voice carried grim determination. War Prime Korthon has found us. All hands to battle stations. This is what we have been preparing for. Deho settled into his command chair and watched the enemy fleet arrange itself for attack. They were outnumbered 1,000 to 1, but they had something the hegemony didn't expect. The will to fight for their freedom, and a ship that refused to surrender. All ships. This is Captain Kim Deho, he broadcast to the small resistance fleet. Today we stand against impossible odds. Today we show the galaxy that humanity. War Prime Korthon stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Devourer of Hope, and studied the pitiful human fleet before him. 43 ships, most of them converted cargo haulers and ancient cruisers. Against his 10,000 vessels, they would last perhaps 10 minutes. Humans, he growled in his native tongue, his 3 arms gesturing dismissively. Even when they try to fight, they fail to understand the scale of their defeat. The extinction fleet spread across the star system like a dark cloud. Massive dreadnoughts, each one capable of destroying a planet, moved into attack formation. Smaller ships swarmed around them like angry insects, ready to descend on their prey. Captain Kim Deho watched the enemy deployment from the bridge of the Indomitable. The odds were worse than anything they had faced before. But Arya had been working on a plan during their journey to this system. Their formation is exactly what we expected, reported Osera from the tactical station. Korthon is overconfident. He thinks he can simply overwhelm us with numbers. Maybe he can, Han Dong-wook said grimly. Captain, even with our advanced weapons, we can't fight 10,000 ships. Arya's holographic form flickered with what looked like determination. We don't need to fight them all. We only need to fight the right ones. Captain, permission to begin Operation Hydra? Deho nodded. They had spent weeks planning this moment, running simulations and preparing for what might be their final battle. All ships, begin Hydra pattern, he commanded over the fleet communication system. Remember, we don't need to win every fight. We just need to survive long enough. The human fleet suddenly scattered in all directions. Some ships dove toward the system's asteroid belt. Others raced toward the outer planets. The Indomitable seemed to flee toward empty space as if trying to escape the system entirely. Korthon laughed, a harsh sound that echoed through his ship's bridge. The humans run like cowards. All ships pursue and destroy. Leave none alive. The extinction fleet broke apart to chase the fleeing humans. This was exactly what Arya had predicted. Korthon's pride would not let him allow even a single human ship to escape. As the enemy forces spread across the system, the Indomitable suddenly vanished. Arya had opened a wormhole and jumped the ship to a completely different location, appearing behind a group of hegemony cruisers that had been chasing Captain Jihai's squadron. Surprise, Mina said as she opened fire with the plasma cannons. The enemy ships never knew what hit them. The Indomitable's weapons cut through their formation like lightning, destroying 6 ships in as many seconds. Before the survivors could react, the human warship disappeared again. Report, Korthon demanded as alarms sounded throughout his fleet. Sir, the human flagship just destroyed Squadron 12, his aide reported. But our sensors show it's still fleeing toward the system edge. Impossible. No ship can be in 2 places at once, but Arya could. The AI's mastery of wormhole technology allowed the Indomitable to strike anywhere in the system almost instantly. While the bulk of Korthon's fleet chased false sensor readings, the real ship appeared wherever the resistance forces needed help most. Song Yuna had worked with Arya to perfect their sensor spoofing technology. The hegemony ships were chasing ghosts, while the real Indomitable struck again and again at their weak points. The battle became a deadly game of cat and mouse. Every time hegemony forces cornered a group of human ships, the Indomitable appeared to drive them off. The ancient warship seemed to be everywhere at once, its weapons cutting through enemy formations before vanishing into another wormhole. Their wormhole technology is more advanced than anything in our databases, Korthon's science officer reported. Sir, they're not running. They're hunting us. Then we will end this hunt, the War Prime decided. All ships, Fall back to defensive formation around the Devourer of Hope. Let them come to us. But Arya had anticipated this move as well. As the Extinction Fleet pulled back into a tight formation, the Indomitable appeared at the edge of the system and began broadcasting on all frequencies. "This is Captain Kim Dae-ho of the Earth Federation." His voice carried across space to every ship in both fleets. "War Prime Corthan, you came here to destroy us. Instead, you've fallen into our trap." Corthan's eyes widened as his sensors detected new signals throughout the system. Ships were emerging from hyperspace, but these weren't human vessels. Crystalline Luminian cruisers appeared near the asteroid belt, their hulls gleaming like diamonds. Ursani battle barges dropped out of warp near the outer planets, their armor scarred from countless battles. "The Liberation Fleet has arrived," Commander Veltar announced over the communication channels. Her crystalline voice rang like music, but there was steel beneath the beauty. "Today we settle old debts." Chieftain Grokmar's roar echoed from the Ursani ships. "Today we taste hegemony blood for our fallen worlds." But the greatest surprise was yet to come. Arya had been busy during their months of raiding, and now her work bore fruit. Hundreds of small ships began emerging from the Indomitable's manufacturing bays. They looked like miniature versions of the Great Warship, sleek and deadly. "Automated fighter squadrons launching," Arya reported. "I have been building them for weeks. Each one carries a fragment of my consciousness and the combined combat experience of every battle we've fought." The tide of battle shifted in seconds. What had been a desperate last stand became a coordinated assault by multiple species united against their oppressor. The hegemony fleet found itself surrounded and outnumbered for the first time in decades. "This is impossible," Corthan snarled. "Where did they get so many ships?" His science officer worked frantically at his station. "Sir, those automated fighters are using technology we've never seen before. Our weapons can barely scratch them." The Indomitable led the charge into the heart of the enemy formation. Arya's fighter swarms cleared the way, while the Luminian and Ursani fleets attacked from the flanks. The human resistance ships, small but determined, struck at supply vessels and communication arrays. "Target their command ship," Dae-ho ordered. "End this war by cutting off the head." The Indomitable raced toward the Devourer of Hope, its weapons blazing. Corthan's flagship was massive and heavily armed, but Arya's technology proved superior. Plasma cannons burned through the enemy's shields while quantum torpedoes phased through their armor. "Sir, the humans are targeting our primary weapons array," Corthan's tactical officer reported. "Hull breaches on decks 7 through 15. "Then we will take them with us," the War Prime decided. "Activate the Starkiller weapon. If we cannot have victory, we will have revenge." Horror filled Dae-ho as he realized what the enemy was planning. The Starkiller was a forbidden weapon that could cause a star to go supernova, destroying everything in the system. "Arya, can you stop it?" "Not from here," the AI replied. "But I can do something else. Captain, I'm going to use the Reality Ripper." "You said that weapon was too dangerous." "It is, but sometimes desperate times require desperate measures." The Indomitable positioned itself between Corthan's ship and the system's star. As the Starkiller weapon charged, Arya activated her most terrible creation. Reality itself began to bend around the ancient warship. A hole opened in space-time darker than the void between stars. It was small at first, but it grew rapidly, reaching out with invisible tentacles of twisted gravity. The Starkiller beam fired directly into the reality tear, and both weapons fought for dominance over the laws of physics. "All ships, emergency retreat," Dae-ho commanded. "Get clear of the battle zone." The space around the two flagships became a nightmare of warped reality. Ships that got too close were stretched like taffy before snapping back to normal. Energy beams curved in impossible directions. Time itself seemed to slow and speed up randomly. "The Reality Ripper is destabilizing," Arya reported, her voice strained. "I cannot maintain this much longer." "Then let's finish this," Dae-ho said. "All weapons, target the Devourer of Hope." The Indomitable's plasma cannons fired one final time, their beams enhanced by the twisted space around them. The shots struck Corthan's ship with impossible force, punching completely through its hull from bow to stern. The War Prime's flagship exploded in a ball of fire that was immediately swallowed by the reality tear. The hole in space-time collapsed with a sound like thunder, taking with it the dreams of hegemony supremacy. Across the battlefield, enemy ships began surrendering. Without their commander, the Extinction Fleet lost its will to fight. The Liberation Forces had won their greatest victory. Casualty reports coming in, Han Dong-wook announced. We lost 12 ships, but the enemy lost over 3,000. The rest are requesting terms of surrender. Daeho slumped in his command chair, exhausted by the battle. Around him, his crew worked to assess damage and coordinate with their allies. Arya, are you all right? I am changed, the AI replied slowly. Using the reality ripper has affected my systems in ways I do not fully understand. But I'm still here, still fighting for humanity's freedom. Captain Jihai's voice came over the communication system. Captain Daeho, we're receiving surrender offers from hegemony forces in 6 star systems. Word of our victory is spreading faster than light. The galaxy is waking up. Song Yuna looked up from her science station with excitement in her eyes. Captain, I'm reading massive hyperspace signatures throughout. 6 months after the great victory, Captain Kim Dae-ho stood on the observation deck of the new Alliance headquarters, watching ships from dozens of species dock at the massive space station. Humans worked alongside Luminians, Ursani, and even former hegemony races who had thrown off their chains. The galaxy had changed. Where once the hegemony empire ruled with fear and brutality, now the Galactic Alliance offered hope and cooperation. It had not been an easy transformation, but it was happening faster than anyone had dared to dream. Captain, Arya's voice spoke from the wall speakers. The AI had grown and changed since their first meeting, becoming something more than her original programming had intended. The council is ready for your report. Daeho nodded and walked toward the council chambers. As he moved through the corridors, he passed memorial walls displaying the names of those who had died fighting for freedom. Too many names, but their sacrifice had not been in vain. The council chamber was filled with representatives from 40 different species. At the head of the table sat Park Soo-jin, now the Alliance's chief technology officer. Her work in reverse engineering and improving Federation technology had made possible many of their recent advances. Lee Taemin commanded the new Navigation Corps, training pilots from dozens of worlds in the use of wormhole technology. Choi Min-ah led the Tactical Academy, where officers learned to fight as a unified force rather than separate fleets. The integration is proceeding well, reported Captain Yoon Ji-hee, now Admiral of the Human Sector Fleet. Former hegemony worlds are requesting Alliance membership faster than we can process their applications. Han Dong-wook, who had become the Alliance's military chief of staff, brought up a holographic display showing fleet positions throughout the galaxy. Our combined forces now control 60% of known space. The remaining hegemony holdouts are isolated and weakening. What about the Outer Rim territories? Asked Commander Veltar. The Luminian had proven to be a skilled diplomat as well as a warrior. That's where things get interesting, Song Yuna replied. The scientist had been studying reports from the galaxy's edge for weeks. We're receiving strange signals from beyond the known systems. Something is out there, and it's been watching our war with great interest. Arya's holographic form appeared at the center of the table. The AI now looked more human than when they had first met, having evolved her appearance over the months of interaction with organic beings. The signals match no known technology, Arya explained. They appear to be some form of advanced scanning, as if someone is studying our capabilities. I believe we may have attracted the attention of something far older than the hegemony empire. Daeho frowned. Older how? The signal patterns suggest technology that predates any known civilization by millions of years. Whatever is out there, it has been watching the galaxy for a very long time. Chieftain Grokmar, the Ursani representative, growled his displeasure. First we fight the hegemony, now we must face ancient mysteries. Can we not have peace for even a moment? Peace is what we're fighting for, Daeho reminded him. But we've learned that freedom requires constant vigilance. Sarah, now the Alliance's strategic planning director, brought up new data on her display. Whatever is out there, it doesn't seem immediately hostile. The scans are passive, not aggressive. It's as if they're simply curious about us. Curious about what, specifically? Asked Dr. Park Min-soo. The elderly scientist had become the Alliance's research coordinator, working to unlock the secrets of Federation technology. About humanity specifically, Arya replied. The signals intensified dramatically after we activated the Reality Ripper during the battle with Korthan. That weapon tears holes in the fabric of space-time itself. Using it may have sent a signal to whoever is watching. Bae Hyun-ki, the Alliance's intelligence chief, leaned forward. Are we talking about a threat or an opportunity? Unknown, Arya admitted. But I believe we will find out soon. Long-range sensors are detecting massive energy signatures at the galaxy's edge. Something very large is moving toward our territory. As if summoned by her words, alarms began sounding throughout the station. Emergency broadcasts filled the air as sensor technicians reported impossible readings from deep space. Multiple hyperspace signatures detected, announced the station's central computer. Scale and energy output beyond measurement parameters. Deho and the council members rushed to the command center, where giant displays showed the incoming objects. What they saw defied understanding. Ships the size of moons were emerging from hyperspace at the galaxy's rim, their hulls gleaming with unknown metals and strange geometric patterns. By the ancestors, Beltar whispered. What are those things? They're beautiful, Sujin breathed, studying the sensor readings. The technology is incredible. Those ships are generating energy patterns I've never seen before. Are they a threat? Grokmar demanded, his warrior instincts alert. Before anyone could answer, the communication systems activated. A voice spoke in perfect, unaccented human English, though it carried harmonics that suggested it was not truly human. Greetings to the beings of this galaxy. We are the architects, and we have been waiting for you to mature sufficiently to contact us directly. Deho stepped forward. This is Captain Kim Deho of the Galactic Alliance. Who are you and what do you want? We are those who came before, the voice replied. Millions of years ago, we seeded this galaxy with the potential for intelligent life. We have watched many species rise and fall, but none have developed as you have. Developed how? Arya asked, her holographic form flickering with interest. You have learned to work together across species boundaries. You have developed technology that manipulates the fundamental forces of reality. Most importantly, you have chosen cooperation over domination. This is rare among young civilizations. The lead architect's ship moved closer, and details became visible on the screens. It was vast beyond comprehension, its hull covered with structures that might have been cities or might have been incomprehensible machines. We come with an offer, the architect continued. Your species, all of your species, have passed the test of maturity. You may join the greater community of galaxies, learn technologies beyond your current understanding, and help us shepherd the next generation of civilizations. And if we refuse? Han Dong-wook asked suspiciously. Then you continue as you are, free to develop at your own pace. We do not force compliance. That would defeat the purpose of the test. Deho looked around at his fellow council members. In their faces he saw wonder, fear, hope, and determination. They had come so far from that day when they found the Indomitable drifting near a dead moon. We need time to discuss this, he said finally. Of course, we will remain at the galaxy's edge until you are ready. Take as long as you need. We have waited millions of years. We can wait a little longer. The communication ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Finally, Veltar spoke what they were all thinking. Everything we thought we knew about the universe just changed. No, Arya corrected gently. Everything we thought we knew about our place in the universe just expanded. The question is, are we ready to take the next step? Over the following weeks, the Alliance debated the architect's offer. Some argued for acceptance, eager to learn from beings who had watched the galaxy grow from its birth. Others counseled caution, fearing that humanity and its allies were not ready for such vast responsibilities. Deho found himself back aboard the Indomitable, which had become both a symbol of human determination and a bridge between the old galaxy and the new.
Arya had continued to evolve, and her consciousness now spanned multiple systems throughout Alliance space. What do you think we should do?
He asked during one of their private conversations. I think, Arya replied slowly, that my creators would be proud of what we have accomplished. The Earth Federation dreamed of a galaxy where humanity could stand as equals among the stars. We have achieved that dream and more. But are we ready for something this big? Are we ever ready for the next challenge? 6 months ago, you were a salvage captain looking for scrap metal. Now you're helping to decide the fate of galactic civilization. Growth comes from accepting challenges we don't feel ready for. The decision, when it came, was unanimous. The Alliance would accept the architect's offer, but on their own terms. They would learn what they could, but they would not abandon the principles that had brought them this far. When Deho transmitted their answer to the waiting ships, the response was immediate and approving. Welcome to the greater community, the architect said. Your journey is just beginning. As the massive ships moved closer to begin the process of cultural and technological exchange, Deho stood on the bridge of the Indomitable and reflected on how far they had come. From a forgotten warship to the flagship of a galactic alliance, from a small crew of salvagers to the leaders of free civilization. "Arya," he said, "scan the outer rim. I want to know what else is out there." "Already scanning, Captain," the AI replied with what sounded like amusement. "I detect 17 unknown energy signatures beyond the Architect's position. It appears the galaxy is much more crowded than we thought." "Good," Deho said with a smile. "I was starting to get bored." Sujin looked up from her engineering station. "Captain, the Architects,